Joining us now to discuss the African migration crisis, xenophobic attacks, and possible legal actions is Yemi Kasali, a legal practitioner with over 17 years' experience in migration matters. Welcome. Great to have you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Let's make a sense of it. We started this trajectory from Libya. It looks as though Africa has become a hotbed of migratory issues. Somebody once quipped that Africans are not less than migratory birds these days as they search for opportunities constantly. What is happening?
Migration is a generic issue. It's a phenomenon that's been alive as long as there's the world. Go to the Bible, you see the migration of Israelites. Go to our traditional way, the cultural way. You see people migrating from one place to the other. There's one proverb that says, I'll say it in Yoruba. If you are in a comfort zone in your house, you won't seek to go and live in another man's land. So the issue of migration and the level it's getting to in Africa is getting to that level because there's total failure of leadership in Africa, particularly. Because I don't see a reason why a lawyer would say, I'm leaving Nigeria to go and be a front desk officer in Canada, in US. I don't see why somebody, an accountant, would say, I want to leave Nigeria to go and be a security in UK. It doesn't make any sense. And when you look at it, a nation that is receiving you to build its economy. So you get to a certain level that they won't need you again, and they have to move you out. This South Africa issue, the Libya issue, is just an example. We are coming to it. When I saw my friend, Senator Bashir, saying that they were finding a permanent solution to it, where? Who? We have a population of over 200 million people. We have a whole lot of people even displaced in our country. There is no provision. Right? Most of the people that you will see they brought back to South Africa, you'll be thinking that the only one affected. They are not. If one Nigerian staying outside is brought back home, like average 100 Nigerians is affected. Somebody that we send $1 to from abroad. Some people, I know some people that are abroad, they are paying scholarship to a lot of students in Nigeria who could not afford to pay school fees. We are talking about school fees of 3,000 naira in Oyo State. Before Sheyi, cancel the issue of payment. So when you look at this migration issue, don't look at it as an issue that is just coming up. You remember in Egypt when Joseph moved there, but it got to a time that a king that did not know Joseph got to power. A lot of people will be saying, now we have done a whole lot of things for South Africa, we have done this, we have done that. But that is then. The economic situation of South Africa now will not permit more foreigners to stay with them. They have to create. Immigration is based on protection of your citizen. Immigration is based on investment for your country. If you say you want to travel to US now, you have like $100 million to invest in US, do you think they will look at your face twice before they will give you a visa? They will not.
So are we appreciating enough the motivating factors for this migration or illegal migration? Because migration is a human right. It is acceptable. But I think the issue most times is the illegal migration. Are we appreciating enough these motivational factors such as insurgency, poverty, all of this situation?
When you say illegal migration and migration, it is only in Nigeria because Nigeria have a very good law, very good immigration law that make it watertight for foreigners to come in and for foreigners to become citizens. You can check it all over the world. But when you are looking at this illegal migration, there's virtually no way. I remember like how many years ago, 15 years ago, somebody said he came to me for an advice, he wanted to travel, and I said, what do you want to do? He told me the process. I said, no, this is a wrong process. Go through this process. He said, no, I won't.
I was wondering, I mean, you're a lawyer as well. Do you have anything to say about this situation happening in front of Sahara reporters? What do you make of that situation?
I think basically we know what we call freedom of movement, which is clearly stated in the Constitution. We also know that when you want to search somebody else, you have a search warrant or you have an arrest warrant. And if you want to stop people from protesting, you know, what is expected is that you see them protesting, not just, these people are imprisoned now. They are a kind of self-imprisoned.
No, but they said they locked the gate.
They locked the gates.
In self-defense.
Listen,
Not the police didn't lock
for example, now, if you hear the sound of a kidnapper coming into this room, and you know that if you get out of that place, you're going to be kidnapped, what will you do?
No, but what if they had opened the gate? If they didn't take a chance to open the gate and see if they'll be arrested or not,
I mean, they did
once
say that
they heard
the
it, they
police
locked
officers
it.
were banging on the gate and
No, they said they were
arrest them.
banging on the day you are under arrest.
And refused to show a
And
warrant.
they asked them for the warrant. And from my own experience, my own little experience in this country, is that once you are arrested, you can never state or determine the kind of offense that will be brought against you that will keep you in jail or in detention for weeks.
Okay.
And you know, these people in Nigeria, if the head of this organization is arrested today, there will be a whole lot of noise. Or if junior staffs, security staff, and they are taken away, the system, the society, protect the rich. So all this, if it is the big man, if the big man is there, it can come out. And you know, if he's arrested, he knows what button to press or whatever.
But the head of this organization has still been in detention for over 45 days.
So you understand, and it's been renewed. So I think the fear of locking themselves in is that, hey, once I'm gotten, I don't know what's going to happen to me.
Okay, very quickly, thank you so much for that. Let's return back to our initial conversation, migration. And let us bring in now the current situation.
Okay.
Nigerians are being evacuated from South Africa.
Yes.
Although that exercise has extended,
Yes.
we are expecting the second batch today. The initial reason given was that there was lack of proper documentation.
Yes.
How necessary was it for the South African authorities to hold back Nigerians that are being evacuated because they didn't have proper documentation? Help me make sense of that.
In every country, that's what you call municipal law and international law. A country is guided by law. I don't know what transpired for South African authority to hold them. But what I read, what I've heard, is about landing permits.
That was just for yesterday. Last week,
Yes.
there were supposed to be 300 people on board.
Okay.
Only 188 returned because almost half of them were said not to have proper documentation.
Proper documentation, when you look at it, right? If you want to go to a country, you have your visa. If you want to live in a country, you have your resident permit. Actually, in a civilized country, once you commit an offense, let's say driving offense, and they ask for your passport, you are not able to get it. That's a way to your deportation. Most of the countries of the world do not stop any people to be deported. They are happy. But if you have a criminal case against somebody, or somebody is in detention, and you said you want to deport, there are a lot of things that you have to put in place. Are you getting what I'm saying? To make sure that you perfect all their documents before you release them. And this situation now in South Africa is a very peculiar and different situation. There are two countries, you had the foreign minister now, that we are not going to sever any tie with South Africa, right? That means that in diplomacy, they want to resolve diplomatically when they are also trying to evacuate their people.
There's some talk in some quarters now that those that came back from South Africa that were evacuated, it will take them another 10 years to be able to re-enter South Africa, to come into South Africa again. Why? And we all know what that means invariably. That's like deportation status. What's your take on this?
My take is basically this. South Africa government did not force them to leave. Our country said, we want to protect our citizens. We are tired of what you are doing to our citizens. We want to bring them back home to safety, to prosperity. Our own country is better to take care of our citizens, and they are taking them. And for you to go back to that country, there are procedures that has to be followed. It's not automatic. This is not that you travel on your own out of the country, you're coming back to your country, you're going back. You send is deportation. And that's why I said my basic take is that there's a lot of diplomatic shuttle that will still have to be done. You remember there was a time South Africa was saying that if Nigeria do not have yellow card, they deport them at the port of entry immediately. But government got in there. There were a lot of talk about it. Are you getting what I'm saying? And they were able to solve it. You remember the time there was the high repatriation fee. Even US about introducing it, that you have to pay. But what is important is diplomatic policy of the country. How strong your diplomatic strategy is.
So in your estimation, should we have evacuated them?
If you ask me, not as an emotional Nigerian, I would say because we don't know where to keep them. We don't know how to deal with them. It would have been a kind of talking tough to South African government and doing subtle diplomatic strategy underneath, and also ensuring that the security and life of the people that are there, our Nigerians, are taken care of. When we responded to what happened in South Africa, MTN did not say, I'm leaving Nigeria.
So we shouldn't have.
I think we should have found a way, right? Because if, for example, now if US will say, all my citizens in so place, come. Because US know where they're keeping them. US know is sure that once you get to their land, there's a provision, there's a systemic structure that take care of every US citizen.
So you do not trust what the federal government is putting in place, the Bank of Industry giving stipends, opening line of communication with them for the next 2 months until they are reintegrated. I mean, that's the role the federal government says it's going to play now.
When you say, I do not think or I do not trust, it's a different language.
Because you keep saying there's nowhere to keep them.
When you look at, issue of Boko Haram and Borno and a lot of displaced people, you have watched what happened in Edo State. The dignity of these people has been taken away from them. You don't understand. You have been taken out of your comfort zone. You are in Nigeria. You have read so many news about Nigerians, about what is happening. You just saw what happened now. That you are just in an office, you are locked up. I mean, you are restricted from moving out. In other clime, it won't happen like that. I do not doubt sincerity of the government because I'm not part of the government. And I'm not accusing the present government for failure. But there is a total failure, a structural failure. Years failure. I heard Professor Nwakobia when he was talking there. He said enough of fire brigade approach. So to me, government is trying, but it's not just about that. There's a lot of psychological issue. The civil society too has to come in. There must be because Libya started in 2017.
I appreciate that, but Shaito just wants to
follow up on your point. What do you think the federal government needs to do to reintegrate and restyle them into Nigerian society, especially from a legal standpoint? We have a lot of these immigrants that are not only suffering from, like she said, they're broken and they're broke. So a lot of them have suffered, mental abuse, physical abuse. What needs to be done, in your opinion, by the federal government to make sure that they follow this plan of evacuating them from beginning to the end?
I think what I think needs to be done is not just the government. Because what we look at in this part of the world is always the government, the government, the government. There are a lot of NGOs that must sit down, that the government must also invite to sit down with them to have, it's not just coming to the TV station and saying, this one needs to be done. But if you ask me personally, I would say there must be a psychological way of restoring back this dignity that has been taken away from them. Their dignity has been taken away twice. When they were leaving the country, they left not out of happiness. Dignity taken away. They got to South Africa. They spent years to build business. Some people came, dignity taken away. Now you are evacuating them. I learned that there are up to like 800 and something people that are still yet to be evacuated. So there must be a psychological way of settling these people. That is, you have to talk to their psyche. And not only to their psyche, you have to talk to their personality so that one, whatever you're giving them will be, at least for now, will be enough. And there must be an assurance that what you're giving them is not just for a moment. And that's why our embassies abroad need a whole lot of job to do, not just about South Africa. There's a way that the level of crime that is happening in every other part of the country and that our country is linked to, we have to do a whole lot of things about it. So that is one, restoring dignity. Secondly, liaising, discussing. There are a lot of big people in this country. In abroad, people spend millions, billions of naira to take care of the have-not. Our rich people should come together, support federal government to put a whole lot of money into resettlement, not just the deported or the evacuated people, but into resettling the displaced. You can remember when Boko Haram started, the way we took it, anybody that is a victim of that Boko Haram stuff would think that where I'm going to live is going to be an Eldorado. But when you look at it today, I don't know, I may be subjective, it's not the way we expected. A lot of attention. What happened in Nigeria is that it's like hot water. I just calm down. I don't know what will happen in the next 1 month or 2 months to these people when the noise is over.
Very quickly, before we round up, you've talked about talking to the psychic of these people. How about the society? Because some people view these returnees as those who are coming back to create some financial and demographic burden on the community and society. So what do you have to say to those who feel that the federal government is giving special attention to those who opted to leave Nigeria, but their dream of greener pastures have failed, and now they are back, the government is paying special attention to them? What do you have to say to those kind of people very quickly?
I will go biblical, though I'm not a pastor. You remember the prodigal son? He went away, plundered all the wealth. But when he came back, what did the father do? Took care of him. As long as every citizen of Nigeria do not believe that one citizen, he has a problem anywhere, either in the country or in the world, everybody has a problem. As far as I'm concerned, the people that have been evacuated today have been a lot of blessing to a lot of Nigerians. And their problem must be our priority. Because we don't, life of a single Nigerian should be important, but it's not. We think more of money than service, than love to ourselves. So for anybody telling anybody that these people that are coming, they are coming to take what we have, to me, it's like they also need a psychological upliftment. Because it's your psychology, it's your level of psychology that will tell you to say, this man is coming. Because they have a lot of, I think in a year they declare how much of fund that come from Nigeria living abroad to our economy.
25 billion.
You understand that? So if somebody has pumped such to your economy and is in a crisis.
Thank you.
So their problem should be our problem.
It's not should be. It's our problem.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Yemi Kasali, an immigration lawyer.